He didn't look like a threat. He didn't look like a seasoned pro. In fact, to most people watching, he looked more like Harry Potter than a poker champion. But on a summer day in Barcelona, a broke 21-year-old chess prodigy walked into one of the toughest poker tournaments in the world, walked out a millionaire. And this is all he had to say about it.
When I bet 2 pots on the river with chips, I was like, just drinking my drink. And then and the last end was like, I knew like this card was so perfect that he had to have something like a straight, a flush. Like once he calls on the turn, right? He has to have a straight or a lower flush. So I just shoved and like decided I would go in a different direction. Maybe, I don't know, he would probably call me anyway, but it was more fun. And, yeah.
Always watching your play, it seemed like, every time you would do one thing in the same situation, the next hour you do something.
This is the story of Sebastian Malik, the fanboy who became a legend. Let's start with the moment that set the tone for everything to come. Malik had just satellited into the European Poker Tour Barcelona main event for 27 euros. The buy-in for this event was more than 5,000 euros with over 1,700 entries, almost all of them seasoned professionals. To Malik, a college kid with no high-stakes live experience, this was more money than he had ever seen in one place. But he wasn't intimidated. He was fearless, talkative, and ready to go toe-to-toe with the very best. And then came one of the first defining clashes. Malik was dealt Jack-8 of diamonds in the big blind against Thomas Dye. But let's rewind for a moment, because the story of Sebastian Malik isn't just about that final hand. It's about everything that led up to it. Long before Barcelona, Malik's life was defined by strategy. As a teenager in Poland, he dedicated himself to chess. It was his chess teacher, of all people, who first introduced him to the game. After traveling to Las Vegas for the World Series of Poker, that teacher brought stories back that lit a fire in Malik. By 2014, while studying mathematics and statistics at Warwick University, he started taking poker more seriously.
So basically, it's a type of game that you can make money without any variance whatsoever. Yeah.
What?
But it's really like, well, I don't want to say it's boring, but it's you have to play long hours and learn a lot and grind a lot. But yeah, but basically on spins, if you join this site, you probably in 1 year you can be like printing money without any variance. Yeah.
This sounds like, I gotta look more into this idea. This sounds crazy, man.
Well, you're not going to make like you're going to make a lot, right? Like more than MTT players, like for sure, I guess. Yeah, maybe like something like the better like MTT players you can, but MTTs are more fun. You can make a final table, you can double to final table, you can do a lot of things. So it's because it's just one type of the game, right?
Here we go. What is he doing? I wonder how many times this kid has dreamt about getting into an end boss style raising war with absolute air. I bet a lot.
Malik has just 3-bet to 2.2 million.
I honestly don't even think it's really possible for him to sell a 5 with his action. I like calling, but there's a lot of bad turns for DeRoy.
Well, he's called, thrown in an additional million. This pot is getting ridiculously massive, and there's a jack on the turn, and Malik suddenly becomes a 9-1 favorite.
Wow, worst turn card ever for DeRoy.
Oh no, Sebastian's checked the action to him, and Thomas bets 1.5 million.
Moments like this defined Malik's run. He wasn't polished, he wasn't solver trained, but he had instincts. Instincts honed from his years as a competitive chess player. In his youth, Malik had reached an ELO rating over 2200, marking him as a serious competitor on the chessboard. He understood strategy, patience, and pressure. He knew how to read opponents not just by the cards, but by how they carried themselves. That same mental training translated seamlessly into poker. Malik's story didn't start in the spotlight. He was born in Poland in 1995, the kind of kid who obsessed over games of logic. By 2014, he was studying mathematics and statistics at the University of Warwick in the UK. He didn't have money, he didn't have backing, and he certainly didn't have a resume of high-stakes cashes. What he did have was a dream and a willingness to put in hours grinding satellites online. When he turned a small deposit into a ticket for Barcelona, he was stepping into a field full of killers, the kind of players he had only watched on live streams and poker broadcasts. For him, just sitting there was surreal. But from the very beginning, it was clear that this wasn't just a happy-to-be-here story. Malik had a different energy. He joked at the table, he talked during hands, he played in ways that confused even the commentators. He wasn't afraid of looking silly, because he had nothing to lose. That made him dangerous.
7-6 deuce.
Flipów się nie boimy, no. Ja flipów nie przegrywam.
The turn card. Here's an 8. Mallet's still ahead.
Or is he on what's his face?
They've seen the show. They want it always coming 7.
So Adam Owen will watch his opponent's reaction to the river. The Brit needs a queen or a jack to survive. It's a 6.
Yes!
As the final table played out, Malik kept putting himself in tough spots and somehow finding the right answers. Against experienced players like Adam Owen, he didn't shy away from coin flips. Owen shoved with Queen Jack. Malik tanked for a long moment, even joking about what he might buy if he won, a speedboat and a new car. Finally, he called. When the board ran out safe, Owen was eliminated. Just like that, the broke college student had secured a seat in the heads-up match for the title. Now, the real test began.
As this heads-up battle begins, Reichenstein has the chip advantage. Blinds at 200,000, 400,000 with a 50,000 ante. Pocket fours for Mallet. He calls. Reichenstein with Queen 6. Raises. Makes it 1.4 million.
1.2. 1.2? 1.4. Wow. 1.4. Okay.
Yuri may end up regretting telling Sebastian to have fun.
We're going to the flop. 4 in the door. A set for Sebastian. Reichenstein with 3% equity continues for 1.4.
Poor Yuri feels like he's got to rep this.
Mallet's calls.
For heads up, this is sort of a dry board, so maybe Yuri slows down after he gets called.
The turn card is a 10. Reichenstein officially drawing dead.
And officially not slowing down. Look at those raspberry chips, huh?
They're worth 500,000 each.
Ooh.
Reichenstein fires 3.3 million into the abyss.
Well, an ace is never folding, and this is way better than an ace.
Mallet's calls. 12.3 million in the pot as we go to the river. Which is the case for. Mallet's improves to quads.
Oh, wow, just quads.
Uri. Oh no, don't do it!
Hope Reichenstein doesn't rip it, Stein.
$6.2.
That's 6.2 million. Mallet's has the nuts, he has to raise.
All in.
He shoves!
I don't know how to grade the theatrics, but Yuri was never calling anyway.
He folds. And Sebastian Mallet takes the chip lead.
His opponent was Uri Reichenstein, a German professional with over $4 million in tournament winnings. Reichenstein had been here before. He knew the pressure of final tables, the patience required, the adjustments necessary. On paper, this was supposed to be a mismatch. On one side, a disciplined pro with years of experience. On the other, a kid who had never played a buy-in this large in his life.
Reichenstein raises. Mallet calls. And the chip leader flops second pair. He's checked it to Reichenstein. who's continuing.
1 million. Okay.
Pretty easy call for us now.
Okay.
Turn card is a deuce.
That's a deuce. Okay, check.
Now let's check a second time. Reichenstein betting again.
Very nice, very nice. Okay. 2, 4.
Mallet's calls again.
Okay. Okay.
I agree with everything he's doing and or muttering.
The river card is a jack.
Interesting.
That is one of the worst cards for us. It's an overcard and it makes straights.
Do you want to shove? You think about it? You shove and it's over, baby.
He's shoved. Decision time for Mallet.
Decision time for us.
You put me in the coffin here, huh? This could be it, but like, what the? I was told to play like ranges and stuff, but it's such a good card for you to shove on.
True, but I still don't think we can call.
Come on, and you were over betting for value before, but I want to call you so bad. It could be over, like, right now.
If he calls and he's right, he's won the Barcelona main event.
But you're still a bit capped, right? I mean, you don't shove jack for value. So you'd have to have exactly a king 10, queen jack, jack 9, queen jack 9, we bet jack 9 for value second time. Like king 10, queen jack, right? Or ace queen, king queen. So, so many. 10 8, right? Yeah, 10 8, king 10. If I lose, I still have fighting chance in this, so I should go for it, right?
I disagree for the record.
I should go for it. Okay, I call.
Is it over? No, Reichenstein shows 10-8 for a straight. He will double up and reclaim the chip lead from Mallet.
We had no blockers to value hands, and we had the ace of hearts, so no busted nut flush draws.
This is where Malik's chess background shined through. In chess, one mistake doesn't mean the game is over. It means you have to regroup, adapt, and find a new plan. That's exactly what Malik did. Instead of tilting, instead of panicking, he stayed calm. He reminded himself he still had chips, still had a fighting chance, and still had the ability to make plays that could turn the tide. But Malik thrived in the role of underdog. The more impossible the spot, the calmer he seemed to get. Right away in heads-up play, he found himself in a hand that would become one of the defining moments of the entire tournament. The crowd roared. Malik pumped his fists. Suddenly, the kid who looked out of place at the start of the week was just a few pots away from one of the most unlikely victories in poker history. But what made Malik unforgettable wasn't just his hands. It was his voice, his chatter, his way of turning heads-up poker into a theater performance. The final hand is etched in poker folklore. Malik held ace-3 of hearts. Uri had 10-9 offsuit. The flop came down with hearts, giving Malik the nut flush draw. Uri, meanwhile, picked up a gutshot straight draw. Malik bet, Uri raised, and the tension at the table rose. Malik called, and then the turn came, the 8 of hearts. Destiny.
And like, to confuse him, sometimes I did it with bluffs. Once I bet 5 million on queen deuce for 6, I had 8-3, so he check shoved and folded, so next time I raise and bet 5 million, I have the nuts, right? And he calls. I knew he had because even though what I was doing, I was like, counting aloud what the pot was, what my chip stack was, so I just like thought out loud about the sizing. So I knew he had a pot behind, so perfect pot size shove on the river, and the river I didn't have the nuts on the river, but he never has any full houses there, so yeah. I just shoved and I just, because I was worried he might fold because I was doing such a show, but earlier when I had trips, I tried to do reverse swing and don't talk, don't look too confident, and this time I did the polarized opposite of that. So earlier I bet 2 pots on the river with chips, I was just drinking my drink. And then and the last end was I knew like this card was so perfect that he had to have something like a straight, a flush. Like once he calls on the turn, right? He has to have a straight or a lower flush.
For Uri, it was the dream card. He'd made his straight. For Malik, it was even better. He now had the nut flush. A classic cooler was unfolding right in front of the cameras. Uri bet again, 5 million chips. Malik didn't hesitate long, he called. They went to the river with the tournament hanging in the balance. The final card paired the board with another 8. It didn't change much, but it gave Uri the confidence to keep betting. This time, Malik moved all in. And this is where everything that made Sebastian Malik unique came alive. Instead of sitting in silence like most pros would, he started talking. Talking fast, talking nervously, talking in a way that sounded like the ramblings of a kid out of his depth. But it was calculated, deliberate, and absolutely brilliant. Uri sat frozen, tortured by the speech. Every word Malik said made the decision harder. The commentators couldn't believe it. Nobody had ever seen a player monologue like this in such a high-pressure moment.
Go to the bathroom.
Reichenstein doesn't look like he's folding. The river card is another 8 pairing the board.
Flush not quite as strong now.
All in.
Strong enough. Mallet shoves on Reichenstein.
Here we go.
All in to call.
You call and it's over, baby.
The crowd was stunned. The table talk wasn't just entertaining, it was devastating. Uri looked across at his opponent, trying to decide if this was a bluff or the nuts. But as Malik kept going, it became harder and harder to imagine he could be faking it. Minutes passed. Uri squirmed in his seat, and then, finally, he slid his chips across the line. Call. Malik tabled the nut flush. It was over. The arena exploded. The 21-year-old fanboy who had qualified for just 27 euros was now an EPT champion. He'd outlasted 1,784 players, including some of the best professionals in the world, and turned a 27 euro satellite into a payday of 1.1 million euros.
I was going to the payout structure and the stacks at the table were dictating my play. So once the 2 guys busted and we were 3 guys busted, right? Yeah, we were 4-handed. All of us were pretty good players. So we discussed the deal, but the short stacks didn't want it. I don't know why, because I think it was a good deal. And then we just played, they busted, and to heads up or was the most fun, like, yeah.
His rise wasn't immediate. He cashed for the first time in a live event in Prague in 2014, finishing deep but not making headlines. A year later in 2015, he played his first EPT Barcelona main event, finishing 76 for about 15,800 euros. It was a good result for a student with little money, but not enough to put him on the map. Still, he got a taste of what was possible. Then came 2016, and the satellite that changed his life. For just 27 euros, Malik secured entry into the biggest EPT main event ever held. It was the chance of a lifetime, and he knew it. What makes his victory so remarkable isn't just the money, it's that he won in his own way. His style wasn't polished, solver approved, or conventional. He was messy, he was loud, he was unpredictable. Against pros who thrived on patterns and data, Malik's unpredictability became his greatest weapon. He bluffed in spots that didn't make sense, then value bet thin in ways nobody expected. He talked through hands, he joked, he kept the table off balance. In poker, image is everything. Malik understood that, and he weaponized it. To Uri sitting across from him in the final hand, it was impossible to know what to believe. Was this kid just rambling nervously, or was he letting slip the truth? In the end, it didn't matter. By the time Uri called, the story was over. After that win, Malik didn't suddenly turn into a full-time high roller, chasing every tournament across the globe. Instead, he stayed true to who he was. He moved to Maastricht later that year, not to hide from poker, but to study art and culture. His passion for learning never disappeared. Poker wasn't the only thing in his life. It was one part of a larger journey. But he didn't walk away from the game either. He kept competing, grinding both online and live events, and adding to his resume. By 2023, Malik had racked up more than $2 million in live earnings. That's not the resume of someone who got lucky once. That's the track record of a player who belongs. His biggest score will always be Barcelona, a staggering $1.27 million. But he proved he could do it again on other stages. At the World Series of Poker, he cashed multiple times. At the win in Las Vegas, he made a deep run in the mystery bounty event, finishing second for almost $540,000. That wasn't a satellite, that wasn't luck. That was Malik holding his own in one of the most chaotic, competitive formats in poker.
But is also a poker coach for several training sites.
In hand. And yeah, I quite like this. Instead of shoving into that fold and then sometimes shove, ace-jack suited with more playability, and a great example as to why. It's just going to bet 62,000 because that is what he would do with aces, kings, queens, jacks, even tens. But what's the plan if Malik goes all in? If Malik would shove, because he...
Plenty of players win big tournaments. Not many are remembered years later. What made Malik stand out wasn't just the 1.1 million euros. It was how he won. He didn't hide behind a hoodie and sunglasses. He didn't sit in silence staring at the felt. He talked, he joked, he rambled. He made the entire final table feel like a stage. Some of it was nerves, sure, but it was also deliberate. His chatter became a weapon, confusing opponents, throwing them off rhythm, making it nearly impossible to get a clean read on him. By the time the dust settled, Sebastian Malik had gone from unknown to European Poker Tour champion.
I have queens in my range, jacks, sixes. You don't have those hands in your range, so
I don't think you have any of those hands. I think you might have a flush, though.
it's your choice, man.
Wow.
It's so sick. Nobody ever talks like you without having the nuts. It's so sick.
Totally agree.
Where is Malik going?
How are you doing, guys?
Hey, how are you, man?
How are you?
Are you good? Okay, or what? Are you going to win, no?
I'm going to win this. Like, I'm a winner. EPT champion over here.
Who's that guy?
Reichenstein calls, he loses it all.
You're so big, you are, man.
Yeah.
Did that guy just take a selfie with Mallets?
Is he a paid extra?
What is that, man? Jack Daniels?
Yeah. Do you want something?
Yes, please.
What is going on?
This is incredible. Poor Uri. Taking it well.
Reichenstein calls! And it's over!
I have no words, James. No words.
Sebastian Mallets has gone from poker fanboy to poker champion, taking down the biggest EPT of all time.
Best last hand ever.
And because it was the largest EPT main event ever held, with 1,785 players, his win holds a special place in poker history. What makes it even more remarkable is how he got there. Most champions in poker have bankrolls, backers, or at least a string of results leading up to their breakthrough. Malik had none of that. He had 27 euros, a dream, guts to take his shot. That's the dream Malik lived out in Barcelona. That's why his story still matters years later. So, what can you learn from Sebastian Malik's story? It's not just about the cards you play. It's about the courage to play them your way. And Malik proved that with just 27 euros, you can beat the very best. You don't leave in the middle of a heater. If you thought this story was wild, wait until the next one. The drama's real, the legends are building, your seat's already reserved.